Am I going to stay in BTX? Boy, I get this question a lot lately. The last couple of days, it was something like the most asked question, like Burgas, where you going, bro? In which kingdom? Uh, some questions like, what do I think for BTX leadership? About the alliance performance, about some specific decisions. There's one dude that even tried to interview me. It's like in the chat, yo, bro, can we make one interview? What do you think about BTX leadership and etc.? Even from BTX, a lot of players come to me asking me, what do I think about the direction of this alliance and etc. Now, first thing I have to mention, I'm just a normal player there. I mean, I'm not part of the leadership. I'm not part from decision making stuffs and etc. So I can actually say from my point of view what what is in my benefit and what is not. Now, first, since a lot of people, also about that, I don't have that many power. Let's start from there. Most likely, I have like 97 million power. I'm going to be able to push like 35 million power. So maybe I'm going to hit like 130 million power, which is fine for this type of alliance. But so far, I'm around 95, 97. I get rally, I get swarmed, my castle leave a lot of things. But back in the days when I start migrating from my previous alliance, I migrate in the kingdom where we was like 88 people. There was nothing like we're going to become a 30 billion alliance and something like this. I didn't chase to be on the top alliances by power in Call of Dragons. That was not actually my target, but we make some merges, and here we are. We're like 30 billion power. In the previous season we was 30 billion power. Now we're 30 billion power. So what is the benefits for me if I stay in BTX? One of the things is obviously the mage skin castle is coming, and if I decide to migrate, I have like 600 million gold. I have hundreds of millions of resources and close to 1 billion mana. So I'm preparing for the push for mage skill now. If I migrate, I'm going to lose some percentage from these millions. Now, the resources is still going to be enough to actually, I mean, in items, I have like 2.7 billion and etc. in items. Most likely I'm not going to lose my mana. I'm going to lose just those resources that are not it's outside, it's not in form of items in my inventory. So this is one of the things that is actually working in my direction about the city skin. But in same time, this is the thing that is going to help me, because I save speed ups for so long. And if I check how many speed ups I have for the city skin, it's like, I don't know, 2000 and maybe 700 days of training and general speed ups. This is definitely going to cover like 30 million. So I'm going to get the city skin, even if I have the resources to do it. But this is the thing, maybe just to not lose resources on this point. I already spent so many resources this kingdom, like 200 million mana. Now there is obviously people who is spending billions of resources and they may laugh over my 200 million mana, but for me it's a decent spending. And some people is going to relate, some others is going to think it's low. I don't care. I think is a lot of resources for 1 KVK, especially when I was not able to participate in the zone 2, because zone 2 basically finished extremely fast. Zone 3 was, couple days we was fighting there, but zone 2 finished very fast. So this is the plus, the city skin that I chased for like 8 months, and maybe be part of the top alliances in Call of Dragons by power. And when you're part from this alliance, you may actually see some reports that if you're on in other alliance, maybe average alliance from point of power, Not everybody is going to have the new heroes fully awakened, and you can go and check out the reports there. This is also, I can say, is a plus from point to be in this type of alliance. You can just check it out and see some crazy reports, which is in which is interesting for the people. People want to see millions and millions deaths, some crazy reports, the new heroes, and etc. But my channel is more like guides, in direction of guides. How to make your pet 3-star, or maybe what to do to not your mage legion die faster. It's more like guides. It's not like this type of content where it's only PvP related topics. So on this side, it's also nice to be in this type of alliances. Now this is the, how to say it, the pluses to actually stay in BTX. Now let's talk about the minuses. First thing, the expectations of the people are higher, which is normal. You have so many power and you expect stuffs. So far, I actually cover my target. The target for this season was like having 12 million merits and 200 million mana spent. I actually covered that thing, but the next season, I'm not quite sure I'm going to be able to spend like 200 million mana, because this thing have to be farmed. And I have a single farm. I have one farm. I don't have couple accounts with the farms inside. So I'm counting on one farm and me. So from point of non-stop healing, I'm not quite sure I can actually keep up with somebody who is spending decent amount of money on the game, just buying some resources, or having decent amount of farms to actually go and farm millions or billions of resources. Obviously, the main issue for everybody is going to be the mana. This is going to be the main issue for every player. But yeah, I'm not quite sure I'm going to keep up with the resource healing. This is one of the things. This is a minus, so I cannot actually be that helpful for the alliance. The other thing is I have infantry, but the moment I finish my infantry, and all of them go in the hospital, I have to make a split decision where to spend my resources, or elixirs. Is it going to be on my main troops where I have awakened heroes, or just go with infantry that they're still in progress? I mean, my Goresh still needs 2 points over this spell, even though that is not that important, this spell. And the other hero that I really want to bring with Goresh is going to be Kuma. I think Kuma Goresh is a pretty decent combo. Where is the Kuma, by the way? Yeah, this is a Kuma. Still, I have to level this spell. Right now, I'm working over my Thunderlin. And the things is, I have to go the majority of the time with the mages when I finish my infantry or my cavalry, which is not in great support, because somebody else have to bring some infantry on the battlefield. And yeah, I mean, this is something like, I don't feel good like this to not be able to send infantry non-stop, like, and this type of battles, having infantry is something a must. Now here you're going to see some mages fighting and etc., but in mass fights, in the pushing, in the zone decision, in the blinks where you basically catch the enemy, you need infantry. So I cannot compete with the amount of infantry the top alliances can actually provide. This I can actually say is a minus from my side in these big fights. Now let's talk about the most common question I get, and this is what I think about the leadership of BTX. Brother, this is non-stop getting this question. Well, they do their best. Let's say it like this. They do their best. So far, we're having some fights here. We have some fun. The only thing that maybe I was wishing more is actually having more fights, and maybe to actually make a pushes in our prime time, because we was having a calendars where we was voting, where this is not the first alliance that is doing that. Every alliance where I was, there was a question, okay, when you're active, my brother, and everybody's selecting sometimes a time slot in UTS. So we select some time slot and some random pushes coming from here and there, and in the prime time nothing happened. This is maybe the only thing that I can say as a minus, but in general I think the leadership did everything they can with whatever they have. We have to also mention that with whatever they're having, because some people are going to um, okay, let's say why I'm saying that. Back in the days, for the people who don't know, and they didn't watch my first videos, but I was an officer in the season 1 with tier 4 alliance. In season 1 we beat 2 alliances with tier 5 players inside. One of these tier 5 players is right now in Echo, is Snake Razor. This, I remember his name because he was a huge pain back in the days. I cannot see him here, but yeah, that he was one of the tier 5s, and I remember the stress we was having in the season 1, but we captured the dragon and we win the season. Till the last moment we was fighting around the dragon, was having the opportunity for choke points and etc. But yeah, when you have strong people, everything is easy. When you have committed people, everything is easy. I'm not going to say that we was having inside towers, people who was telling everything what was happening on the enemy, and was making a second meeting with the decisions just because we was knowing who was spreading the information from our alliance and things like this. But at the end of the day, when you have a strong players and committed players, the things is way more easy. But we was just in season 1. There was so many server 29. There was so many servers. Right now, here we're talking about the best alliances in Call of Dragons. We're not talking about the best alliances in specific server. So here the pressure is absolutely crazy. The pressure is absolutely crazy, and I'm trying to give my best to be present, but I cannot be 24/7 present. I don't have ambitions to become a full-time content creator and etc. I have a job and etc. So I do my best. I do my best, and yeah, just to stay and get. And believe it or not, getting 12 million merits from Echo was a pain. Getting 12 million merits from Echo was a pain. But yeah, so I'm still thinking over all of these stuffs, and maybe I'm going to come with video where I'm going to share the full decision, what I'm going to do, and etc. Just to answer all these questions that I get in my PMs on my Discord. Even when I come in the Call of Dragons Discord, people start questioning me. I remember there was one huge wave from the people who start asking me about where I'm going to go or what I'm going to do and etc. And then I understand that somebody thought in the Discord in Call of Dragons that rank 1 people are not going to be in the alliance. So I have no idea what this is supposed to mean. I understand from some random people that the rank 1 people are not going to be in the alliance. I have no idea what is going on. Nobody is saying nothing. I actually check out the announcements in the Discord, and I don't remember to actually saw that. Maybe I didn't actually saw it, but the whole season I was checking the announcement channel, and yeah, I don't remember something like this. But anyway, I'm still in the process of thinking. We're going to see what is going to happen. We most likely we're not going to push in this zone, even though the Thunder Rocks is actually giving nice rewards. But I don't think we're going to be able to push Echo with the buffs they're having from the behemoths here. I don't know what kind of buffs they're giving. Legion March Speed 5%. Okay, this is not actually a crazy buffs, not like in the Zone 3. But you get some good rewards if you catch the chickens. So yeah, I'm going to think, but just want to give some clarity because I get fully spammed with this thing on my PMs. And yeah, I get this for this video, not much information, but I'm also a little confused, especially with these things that at some places somebody says something, nobody know about this information and things like this, which is, I don't know, strange, very strange. But yeah, at the end of the day, is an alliance. I'm just a member, and everybody should think about the best of the alliance and etc. So yeah, I had this is going to be for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe. See you in the next Game of Dragons video.